to my channel. Today we are doing a full wearable glam. I'm going to show you guys step by step in detail what I'm using, how I'm using it, how I'm applying it. If you're like a makeup beginner or you're not sure kind of what your go-to glam should be, we're going to do this one together. So let's get started. Yeah? You guys know I gotta put on a nice little playlist. It is 7 in the morning. I gotta wake up. I like to start off with my eyes. One, if there's any fallout, I can just quickly kind of clean it up underneath my eyes. And two, I like to clean up my makeup looks like at the edges with a little bit of concealer and my foundations. Kind of like a twofold process. But that being said, if you like to do your base first and then the eyes, totally go for it. But my tip would be not to powder or set your face. Powder it, it's just gonna set it. Then when you want to take it off, it's gonna leave like a whole blank spot. It's a whole thing. That being said, we're gonna start off with eyeshadow primer. Is eyeshadow primer necessary? A lot of people ask me this because there are some people who just don't really care about it, which I envy those people a lot. So putting on an eyeshadow primer not only helps sort of mattify this area, also helps the longevity of my eyeshadow, because if my eyelids are really oily, the eyeshadow starts kind of getting in between the creases and folds of my eyes. Favorite has always been the Urban Decay Primer Potion, but people like to use concealer, which I also use sometimes, and kind of set it with like matte shadow, just smooth, and it's ready for your products. I do think that is optional though. There are some people who have dry eyelids and there's some people who just don't have anything and can just hold the color, which is great. I'm actually gonna use this palette today. I mainly like this palette because of the browns they offer. It goes really well with my skin tone. I'm gonna go in with this color called Midtown. It is very close to my skin color. It's more like an espresso type of shade, and we're gonna build this up. Another tip, I like to use a smaller mirror in front of me. Again, definitely just a preference, but I like to put it really close and straight on to my face. That way I can see what it looks like when my lids are open. Basically how the eyeshadow is gonna look all day, right, when I'm talking to someone straight on. So right now, this is just kind of acting as our base color. Now we're gonna go in with an oldie but goodie. We're going in with Saddle by MAC. This shadow, we're gonna go in with a fluffy brush. I'm just gonna use the same brush we used. We're gonna use this color in the crease. I'm gonna start at the edge, then I'm gonna bring it in, and I'm purposefully leaving a little space on the brow bone. I think I wanna do a little shimmer later. So now when we get to the inner corner, blend towards the middle of my nose. So I'm not gonna go in the inner corner. I'm gonna kind of angle it outwards towards my nose. For this look, I want it to look really sharp in the inner corner. So I'm gonna actually take some concealer a little bit later and I'm gonna carve that out. So think of this as me creating the shape of what I want the eyes to look like. Now that we have our shadow on there, we're gonna take some concealer. I'm gonna take a round brush. I'm really gonna add some concealer on the tip of that brush. I'm gonna create kind of that angular shape that I wanted in the inner corner. Think of this as essentially like cutting the crease. Now I'm gonna go in with a chocolatey brown color. I'm gonna use a smaller, tiny brush. Just go right on top of where we cut the crease. I've angled this part out a little bit, so I'm highlighting that part because I really want that part to stand out. Now we're gonna blend this out with a fluffy brush and all the harsh edges. A cut crease for a full glam look is always gonna do it. I feel like it spices up the makeup look just a little bit. It's not just eyeshadow on top of your lid. I feel like it looks more cleaner. It has more precision. So now I'm gonna take an angled brush. I'm gonna go with some black shadow. I'm just gonna line the lid, but I'm gonna line the lid in a different way. I'm gonna kind of follow our shape of how we cut our crease. So I kind of cut the crease this way. I'm gonna do the wing sort of downwards. And this is why I like to use an angled brush, because I'm just gonna turn the angled brush this way so I can get right in that corner. I'm just gonna line it up with our crease. We're gonna go across the lash line. And I'm gonna make a wing on this side, just as sharp as we made it in the inner corner. I feel like this is the part of makeup people don't talk about, where you have to just go back and forth until you love it. You're gonna like lose shadows, you're gonna want to define things. It's just the fun part. I feel like if you have a vision and you know what you want, just keep adding exactly what else you need to make it come alive. Last but not least, we're gonna go in with a little bit of shimmer. I think I'm gonna use this gold-ish color. We're gonna go right on the brow bone. Before starting on the face, I'm using my Hydro Grip Primer. Depending on your skin type, I have a really dry skin type, so I like to go for something that is water-based. So if you have oily skin, you wanna use a mattifying primer, or something that is more like silicone based. For oily skin, you want something that lessens that oil production throughout the day, and you want something that your foundation can grip to. Now we're gonna go in with some color corrector. If you have like grayness like I do, it's not any darkness underneath your dark circles, color corrector is always the way to go. I am guilty of like skipping this step all the time. It really does make a difference, especially if you find the right color corrector. Now let's do some foundation. I like to go in with, of course, my Haus Labs foundation. This foundation is, I believe, water-based. Basically, you want to pair a water-based primer with a water-based foundation. And then if you're using a silicone-based primer, you should use a silicone-based foundation. But if you like to mix and match and it works for you, do it. We're gonna go in with some concealer. I'm using the Nars Creamy Concealer. I'm gonna place that in the middle of my face. I want the inner part of our face to be a little lighter than the outer. I like to do my eyebrows while my concealer is drying. I have been doing my brows the same for as long as I can remember. Now we're gonna blend out the concealer, and I like to use a brush, okay? I am not team beauty blender. I feel like the sponge soaks up a lot of the product versus the brush actually like spreads it around. I mean, I'm sure the brush is soaking up some of the product, but not as much as a beauty blender, I don't think. Quickly, we're gonna go in with some setting powder and underneath my eyes, by my forehead, and then around my mouth. Do a little bit of contour. This is gonna bring some life back to our face. I said mascara off camera. It's a boring process. Also, it is my least favorite part of makeup. It just takes me so long. For blush, we're gonna go with the Haus Labs Dragon Bliss blush. The color Fuse blush. The color is called Watermelon Bliss. And I'm gonna kind of pack this on. I don't know about you guys, but the blush is the first thing to go for me, like every single time. So I'm just gonna, yep. Last but certainly not least, we're gonna go in with a brown lip liner. I feel like with looks like this, you need a nude lip combo. I'm loving these eyes, by the way. I love how it just came out with the eyeliner and the shape. Thinking of the Milani lip liner, this is in number 9 Spice. I've had this for so long. This is my go-to nude lip. Like no gloss, matte. We're gonna go in with some setting spray just to lock this in. And here is the final look. You made it to the end. Thank you for following along. First, you guys let me know what you think about the final look down below. And I really hope to see you in my next tutorial.